It's World Intellectual Property Day. I was going to say yay, you know, it's World Intellectual Property Day. Yay. All right. So this day is dedicated to raising awareness of how patents, copyright, trademarks, and designs impact on daily life, and to celebrate creativity and the contribution made by creators and innovators to the development of societies across the globe. Today we have the pleasure of speaking with two women from the Eastern Caribbean Collective Organization for Music Rights. That's the ECCO Incorporated, Director Vanaldorine Francis, and Agent Grace Richardson. Welcome to Good Morning SKN, ladies.
Good morning. Good morning.
All right, so we're talking all about intellectual property rights. We're talking about music, and we're in a creative space, obviously, in St. Kitts and Nevis as well. So for those who may not appreciate what the benefit of intellectual property rights are, what can you tell us?
Okay, well, we're talking about creations of the mind. You have an idea in your head, and then what you want to do is commercialize it. You're going to express it in a form that it can be transmitted to the public. So if you're talking about an artist who does a piece of work, original piece of work, you're talking about somebody who does a musical piece. It could be somebody who does a musical piece with lyrics and a melody. It could be somebody who is a composer who just has a melody and an instrument is playing the melody. An architect, their designs are covered under copyright. Dramatic works, film works, those things are covered by copyright. It's also important to note that if you are going to go into business, an extension of that is that you're going to try to brand your creativity. So you're talking about trademarks in that respect. In terms of copyright, you don't have to register for your copyright to be established. All you have to do is to produce your original work in a form that it can be transmitted or viewed by the public, and then it's copyrighted. There's nothing extra that you have to do. In terms of trademarks, no, you definitely have to register your trademark. And for that, in St. Kitts and Nevis, you have to go to the Intellectual Property Office and have a talk with the registrar, persons in the office, Jan Williams and her staff, about registering your trademark.
Oh, that's a lot.
So normally, somebody who produces something that is copyrightable and they want to commercialize it, they should definitely take the next step and look into trademarking their brand.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yes, yes.
So they're not stolen.
Question, is your logo trademarked?
Is our logo trademarked?
Yes, yes.
That's a really good question. When we talk to management, I'm pretty sure it is. If not, we'll have a conversation on
Yeah, we definitely.
Yes. Okay.
Very important. So in terms of music, why it is so important is that if you look at nearly everything that goes on, let me extend it to audio, not just to music. Audio forms the basis of much of what we do in life, whether for leisure or for business. So when you look at the power of music and the power of audio, that is the basis of a lot. You can't have a film without music or audio, right? Persons who are doing live events, bars, cafes, etc., hotels, you can't have that thing happening. Suppose you have an artist on stage performing and there's no music. What sense is that? So music forms the basis of a lot of what we do. So in terms of copyright and intellectual property and the whole business aspect of it, the foundation, what you have to do first is to organize and clear the rights for the music part of everything. That's the foundation of what you're doing.
I have to say, when we think of, well, when I think of music, of being in the media and music space myself, I'm thinking copyright is something that we hear about coming from other countries when we know that we can't use or we should not use.
Right. But we still do.
And the thing we have to remember is even that though we think it's coming from another country, we have a Copyright Act in St. Kitts and Nevis.
Right.
And yes, we do. And the Berne Convention is something that we signed on to a long time ago, and we are bound to protect not only the rights of our creators, but the creators from all the signatories of the Berne Convention, which is practically the whole world. So when I go out and do what I have to do when I monitor for music, I don't monitor just for the music that is created by persons from St. Kitts or Nevis
Or the Eastern Caribbean.
Or Eastern Caribbean. I have to monitor for everybody.
This is so very interesting.
Yes.
Hortensia, is it not?
I know.
This is very
Worldwide.
And you see, you need to
I was
understand
just
too. You
thinking it
can,
was St. Kitts alone.
No.
and you need to think about the collaborations as well. Okay, for example, she may be from Antigua, I may be from the BVI. I compose the track, and she actually writes the song. And then you may have someone else who, like you may go on stage and actually perform the works. So what gets, where people get confused is that they think that the person on stage is actually the one that created the works, and they own full copyright of those works. And it is not that. That is mainly not the case.
Well,
This is deep.
it is very deep, but I want to know if you are able to tell us some of the things that you look for when you're monitoring.
Okay, so first of all, what I should look for is that the person or entity putting on the event or playing the music is licensed. You have to have a license because remember this, the artist or the recording that you're using of the musicians and the singers on that recording, right? Remember, they are not necessarily the ones who wrote the material. So you have to separate the persons performing from the material.
Right.
So what we are actually protecting is not necessarily the person, but the body of work.
The body of work, exactly.
Right.
All
Because
who are involved in that work.
So you might find that I have a song and my artist is performing that song, but there were 12 songwriters on that song, including and also including a music publisher or whatever. So I am looking to the rights of those people, not necessarily the artist on stage. I'm only concerned with the artist on stage if they played a part in writing the works. So who we represent are songwriters and music publishers.
Indeed.
So, I mean, is it fair for an artist to go on stage and sing everybody else's work that they created and the writers don't get anything? No. So that's what the license covers. It covers all of the works that are created, and that would include the live performance on stage and anything that's recorded. The creators get their payments from the license fee. So I look for that first. Unfortunately, we know the case in the Eastern Caribbean. We have a huge battle, a huge uphill battle. There's a lot of non-compliance.
Non-compliance.
So the next thing I do is I look at the roster of artists, because what I have to do is to get performance logs to these people. So these people perform, and then when they perform, the logs are filled out. Normally, I go and track down the artists themselves to put in the information, or the managers of the artists to get that information. And then I submit that to our ECCO office in St. Lucia, that's where the headquarters is. And then what they do is they go through it with in more detail to identify the actual songwriters. And they could be songwriters from the USA or anywhere in the world. And then the revenue that is paid, the license fee that is paid, is portioned according to the number of artists and the works. And then it gets sent to the different societies.
Distributed to the different
societies around the world.
Rights holders.
Around the world.
All right, so for creators in St. Kitts and Nevis, it's a great time to be creative, especially with you on the ground here.
Once your material is being played and you're registered, that's another issue. Okay, so now when an event promoter has or any establishment plays music, whether there's a live band or whatever, or there's a recorded version, you're giving a performance to the public, right? The public can hear it. So that's a public performance, whether it is live or recorded. Now, in the age of the internet, we have mechanical license, which has become very important, more important, because when you look at mechanical licensing, you're looking at something quantifiable. So you can identify how many persons have interacted with the material. So when you put something online, you can count the number of views.
Example, YouTube.
Right. When you sell something by download, right, you can identify how many people have bought, right? So that's where the mechanical license comes in. It's quantifiable, and there's a rate per copy or per view that is charged. And that goes to the songwriter or the publisher of the material. So it doesn't go to the person who did the recording, it's a right that goes to the publishing side, the songwriting side. So, for example, you see around the Caribbean a lot of radio stations who broadcast AM, FM in their territory, but now they have put their material online. That's a whole different kettle of fish going on there. Because for the radio station to broadcast AM, FM, that's the public performance licensing. But once you put that material and you start to stream it and the viewers are accountable, then you're talking about the activation of a mechanical license that's payable.
Okay. Exactly.
There you go.
Yes.
So no automatic thing here. You need to be licensed.
That's right, you need to be
right.
licensed. And the thing is, when you put your stuff out on the internet, you put that's fair game because everybody can see that you're infringing.
Exactly.
Good point.
Yeah.
Very good point.
Something that I would like to mention is that you find that DJs on radio stations, they tend to go to YouTube channels and play the music. That in itself is actually robbing the creative who may have had that channel up, who may have posted that work on YouTube from a view. So you have multiple individuals listening to that particular track from YouTube. It could be 100, but it's only going to be counted as one view. So, I mean, you have to really break it down and understand how you're infringing and how you're actually robbing the creatives from their royalties.
I hear you talking about infringement, and in my mind, I go straight to enforcement. Because it seems as if no penalties would ensue, then people will continue to infringe. So as part of your work, how do you go about educating and
Okay, so
addressing that?
we have been doing this for quite a while with the Intellectual Property Office and the staff. We have been back and forth between St. Kitts and Nevis, and we have also been doing like workshops over the years. But I find that I don't know if it is persons are accustomed to doing things the old way and they don't want to change, but we have had challenges. There's some people who generally don't understand because it's not easy to understand. So you have to find ways to break it down. But there's some people who know what to do as usual and they don't do what they're supposed to do.
They find comfort in pretending to be ignorant,
Right.
in other words.
And that's the reality on the ground. So what is happening now is that we're still trying to push ahead. And so what we're going to be doing is working with the Ministry of Entertainment
yes.
and help them to get some information out there.
Okay,
Right.
that's great.
Yeah.
One of the things that comes to mind as you say that we're having this discussion is whenever we put any material on the internet, but there's an intro or anything like that, you're thinking, I'd much rather go with an original production just to be safe. I'd much rather make sure that I can tap into local artists here to be safe. I think that generates some economic revenue. Is that part
It's
of
a
your goal?
different license altogether. Well, two different types of licenses,
right.
depending on what it is you want to use the works for. For example, if it's a video ad, then you'd have to acquire a synchronization license from the creative themselves. And if it is a radio ad, then it is a transcription license. And that is something that you pay directly to the creative. It's not something that goes through ECCO.
Okay.
So we only become involved when the public can
exactly,
view it, become
can
it
view it.
afterwards.
Right.
Or hear it.
So your ad would then go on a radio station or a TV station, and the license that a TV station or radio station would have paid would go towards the distribution to the royalties for that work.
Understood.
But before that, you have to obtain the license from the creative to synchronize or to add their musical works to your production.
You're like the secret agents of music production right now. You're working behind.
Yes, it's very involved. It's very involved.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot.
And so we don't get any sleep.
We don't?
No, we don't get any pay.
You look well rested then.
This is a thankless job.
Oh.
Yes, it's
Seriously.
voluntary.
Yeah, it's primarily voluntary. People think that, they must be making a whole heap. No, it doesn't work like that.
No.
Okay.
No.
We are creatives as well.
Yes.
In order to be a member of ECCO, you have to be a creative. So we are, emotionally invested as well because it is representing ourselves as well, and we are paying it forward to the other creatives in St. Kitts.
So we are songwriters
right
as well, and our company, Ruku, we are a publishing member of ECCO.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
That's great. So that explains your involvement indeed. you might have said it before, but I'm going to ask anyway for personalization reasons. Where do you see this going? What do you want to accomplish in the end from your involvement in ECCO?
We want, well, as I tell persons, it's a selfish reason for us because, of course, our business has to prosper. And this is the environment that we work in. We have to make sure that things are licensed so we can benefit as a company. But when I go out and speak to all of those young persons in St. Kitts, and there are a lot of them, right, who are involved in music and video.
So a lot of them.
There are a lot of them, I can tell you for sure, there are a lot of them. I want to make sure that they can strive from doing that only and not have to go to a day job. That's my goal, yes.
But that's not selfish at all.
Well,
But that's the point. That's the point because we have to help in order for for the industry to grow. If we don't, we're just going to be stagnant. And the thing is, it also involves us having to have meetings 10 o'clock in the evening. Going.
Evening, you say?
People come, well, yes.
I guess
People
you
come
say.
at 2 o'clock in the morning. Those
Yes,
So now I understand this no sleep.
Exactly, and it's different types of individuals. Sometimes you go in smelling one way and come out smelling another way, if you understand what I'm saying. But it's just being able to come down to a level and speak to them and let them understand, okay, listen, this is an industry that you can tap into, but we have to build it. You have to understand what it is you're getting into in terms of the music business, and you have to pay it forward as well. So when we speak to individuals, it's in a way that we want them to start to explain to others. And if they need to have any sort of clarification, then they can always call on myself or Grace.
Well, please let us know how we can do that.
Okay, and then we're looking at the road to the future because everything
Exactly.
is digital now.
Exactly.
So one of the things that we have to ensure is that our young people can benefit from NFTs, get into the crypto market to sell this, those kinds of things. Because if we're not headed in that direction, we're not going anywhere because that's where the music industry is going. Blockchain, crypto, NFTs, that's where the music industry
I want
is
to ask
going.
you clarification, NFT.
Non-fungible token. So you're looking at producing digital assets that you're going to sell, you're going to trade to make money. So you're going to make your song into an NFT. You might bundle it with a little video or an image or whatever. But the basis of it is the blockchain and being able to collect cryptocurrency for the sale of that, the trade of that NFT. And that's where the world is going. If you look at some articles now on news articles on any of those websites like Yahoo or whatever, you're going to realize that there's some young persons who, like 12 years old, 13 years old, they're making millions of dollars from NFTs right now. And that is where our young people should be headed. But the problem with our region is that our laws have to catch up with the reality.
Yes.
We're behind,
Eastern Caribbean is a treasure chest. Trust me, it is.
Well,
It is.
The chest that needs to be pushed forward.
Right.
Well, the only persons, the pirates have found us.
why don't you let our viewers know how they can get in touch with you before we let you go?
Okay, so the ECCO website, my information is on the ECCO website. My telephone number is 762-7139. St. Kitts, sorry. So ECCOrights.com is the site, or .org is the site. And my ECCO email address is st.kits@ECCOrights.com.
Okay, great.
And mine is vanaldoreen@echorights.com. And should I say my number? 763-1117.
Very easy to remember as well.